Hello, everybody, and welcome to another LFC Transfer Room live stream. Tonight, I'm joined by Micho and Tom. It's a hot, sunny, sweaty here in the UK. I hope the weather's treating you well wherever you are. What hydration? Before we get started, how are we, lads? I'll start with you, Tom. How are you?
Yeah, all good. Yeah, enjoying the weather for a change. And yeah, looking forward to seeing us back in action tomorrow night, isn't it?
That's not good.
No, it's not, is it?
No. No, who's gonna stop the stream?
Yeah.
I don't know. His connection seemed pretty bad. When I guess we wait. Oh, he's back.
He's back.
That is the worst start I could physically have. Technical issues in the first bloody. I'll start again. Tom, how are you, mate? Sorry about that.
Yeah, all good. Just saying, enjoying the weather. Nice change from what we have been seeing. And yeah, looking forward to seeing us back in action tomorrow night, I think, innit? Against Arsenal.
That we're all craving having Liverpool, just the next game. We're all bored at the moment, obviously, lack of transfers. And yeah, we're just waiting for that next game just to give me some more Arne Slot ball any day. Micho, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing all right. I have the AC on. I'm not too bothered by the weather. So, doing all right.
Thanks for rubbing that in. Thanks for that. I'm just sitting here sweating in the kitchen because it's the coolest room in the house, and I'm still there. Well, we'll get on to it, lads. The first topic today we're going to discuss, Ryan Gravenberch and Ibou Konate have joined up with the USA Tour squad. Tom, we'll start with yourself. How do you think, specifically Ryan Gravenberch, we'll start with him. How do you think he would mould into this system under Arne Slot?
It's a tough one, really, because we've not seen too much of him, have we? Obviously, he's got a lot of qualities, physically and kind of on the ball. So, in that sense, he is quite kind of versatile. He's got the stature and the physicality to kind of play a deeper role if needed, but he's also got the kind of progressive passing kind of and dribbling ability and into play further forward. So, yeah, I think he could play 6, 8, or the 10. I would imagine. I think most suits to the 8, but like I said, I think he's quite versatile in that central area because, like I said, of the kind of varied kind of attributes that he's got to his game. And yeah, I think everyone forgets how young he is, because of the CV that he's got, already in this stage of his career. But he's only 21, 22, isn't he? So, like I said, he's got a lot of years ahead of him, a lot of improvement to do, which is, promising signs because, like I said, he's got a lot to build on.
Yeah, I fully agree. It's a strange one, Gravenberch. When we signed him last summer, we didn't know exactly what role he would play. He's not defensive-minded. He's not really... Some people class him as a box-to-box, but he seems too elegant to be bursting through the lines. He wants to be on the ball, dictating play. It seems more smooth than anything else. I think it suits this system from what we've seen from one game, granted, just one game, but someone who can receive the ball, turn on it, looks calm in possession. We had a couple of glimpses of it last season against Fulham and a couple of other teams, especially. Micho, what are your thoughts of Ryan Gravenberch? There's been reports linking him to Turkey and some other clubs, I think, in Italy. He's probably the one signing last year that didn't really hit any sort of form. I think he had the odd game, like I said. Do you think he would suit this system more than what Jurgen Klopp tried to bring in?
I'll have to agree with Tom. We really cannot say too much because we haven't seen him too much in action. We haven't seen also too much of the new system, so we don't know how exactly they're going to line up, how they're going to play. I don't think it would be smart to even consider selling him, even loaning him, if that is. We haven't made any new signings, so we're gonna be spread too thin if we decide to loan out one of the 4 midfielders that we have, not counting the young ones. But yeah, I mean, he has the ability, he has the talent. I think Klopp was on him since before he joined Bayer. So Klopp has saw something in him that he liked for Liverpool, for the way they play. Slot system, everybody's agreed that it's not so different than Klopp's, the style of play, which is for Liverpool. That's why they got him. So I hope that really he grows into whatever kind of role they put him in, and he showcases his talent.
I hope so as well. Like in the summer, we were told they rated him on their list. I can't remember the other 2 players who were on it, but basically they value Gravenberch as like one of the most promising players in the world, like potential wise. I can't remember for the life of me the other 2 were, but the other 2 went on to do something special at other clubs. And when he was at Ajax, Gravenberch, they would put him up there in that top 3. So I'm just hoping he utilises that and fulfills his potential. Jonathan has finally joined us. You know,
I'm so sorry, guys.
fashionably late.
I totally forgot. So.
No, you're right, mate. No worries. Are you all right?
I'm good. I'm very good. How about you?
Brill. What are your thoughts on Ryan Gravenberch then, Jonathan? We were on about Arne Slot's new system. Obviously, Gravenberch and Konate have just joined up with the squad in America. We won't play against Arsenal. It's already been confirmed he won't have any sort of impact in that game. It'll be United, the last game of the tour. So, do you reckon that he would suit Slot's system more than Klopp's? Whereas Klopp's was more about, obviously, energy, back and forth, basketball style, football, aggression, whereas Slot seems to be a bit more, you know what I mean, softer, as in silky, pass and move. Do you think he'd suit that better?
Yeah, we actually touched upon it yesterday when it was rumored about selling him. The season I wasn't very impressed after the first couple of games. For me, he dipped in form and didn't stay consistently. But I'm excited to see him under Arne. I think it will suit him more, just as maybe it will set and Cody. Might be easier to get messages through because they're both Dutch. So I'm excited to see him. I think he could hit into a double pivot, maybe go in the Szoboszlai role. I'm excited to see him under a new manager.
That's fair enough. Just to move on to Konate, right? This is my opinion personally. Konate, defensive-wise, he's fast, he's strong, he's aggressive, he's good in the tackle. But what I saw in that first game against Real Betis, we need someone calm on the ball. There's a reason why Joe Matip was picked ahead of Konate in majority of the big games under Klopp. I have a small worry that when he's he's under pressure, I should say, is Konate going to struggle? I might be wrong. I've just got that small niggling feeling. Whereas Kwanzaa seems quite calm on the ball when he's been pressed. I'm a bit unsure on Konate. I'll start with you, Misha. What do you reckon about Konate? Do you think he will suit the system? Obviously, time will tell, but I've just got that small feeling. I don't know about yourself.
I don't have worries about Konate and the system. I have worries about Konate and his fitness. And we've mentioned multiple times in the chat that he's injury prone. That's been obvious. He's not very reliable. Last season especially, when they had to play Joe Gomez more. I don't think he's under pressure. He's feeling pressure. I think we've seen the moments that pop up in my head was the game against United, when he was just laughing at the United players, just bullying them, just grabbing them by the collar and pushing them like back. That's the biggest derby that Liverpool can have. I don't see him having any pressure, any worries about how he's gonna play. If he makes mistakes, I don't think they bother him too much. What's more important to me is that he remains healthy, because if he doesn't, then we definitely need to look for another center back. But if he doesn't remain healthy, then there's no point of even of keeping him in the end.
Yeah, that's fair. I agree that Konate, when he's played, when he's been 100% fit, he's been probably one of the best centre backs in the league, especially in the last couple of years. It's just that availability, like you say, you're just waiting for one big injury, and I do think we do need another centre back. Vandenberg, I do like him. It's just I can still see this scrawny kid who played for us a couple of years ago. He has made strides since, of course he has. I'd just like to have somebody else, possibly, but maybe I'm being harsh. Tom, as it was similar question, to be honest. Can you imagine Konate being a bit like Joel Matip? Not necessarily striding into midfield, because I don't think that's what we necessarily need, but someone who's calm and composed on the ball, somebody who can bring it out, and even when he's under pressure on the ball, someone who can just move it through the lines. Do you reckon that's what he can do?
Yeah, I agree. To be fair, I don't really have any worries with him about the system. I think he is quite a good kind of progressive passer. He can kind of move through the lines, obviously not to the level of Matip, but in terms of like a ball playing centre back, I think he can do that. He just looks a bit awkward at times, doesn't he? I think that's the issue. Like even like Kwanzaa, he just looks like he's always kind of under control, and he always knows what his next move is. Whereas Konate, I think it's kind of going on in his head as he's kind of moving with it. It doesn't seem as composed as like a Matip or a Kwanzaa. So yeah, there's a bit of worry in that sense, but he does have a lot of qualities. He's obviously rapid. He's strong as anything. Like you said, he's great in the tackle. But yeah, he does lack a bit of that composure at times. A little bit rash as well. Sometimes he'll get caught like high up the pitch, and he's leaves himself a bit exposed behind him. So yeah, he's got a lot to work on, but similar to Gravenberch, the qualities are there to build upon. He's the main qualities of a centre back. He's got them, to a T, fast, strong, dominant, good in the tackle, like you said. So yeah, no worries about him, but just the fitness. The fitness is the main issue, and yeah, if he can add a bit of that composure to his game as well.
Yeah, that's fair. Like I say, he's got everything but that. Just like say that availability, and when he has hit, remember this is on a different level, by the way. Dejan Lovren, a good few years ago, would always have like 6-7 weeks where he hit an amazing form. He was actually a decent centre back, and then he'd pick up an injury, and then when he come back, he would pull off a shocker. It'd be awful. Konate doesn't remind me to that level the way you pull off a shocker, but he always seems to take a good 4 or 5 games just to kick in a bit of stride. But I'm just waiting, like I said, for that injury, and it just worries me. So on that basis, Jonathan, going into obviously we don't know, like I said before, we don't know everything because there's only been one game. But if you had to put money on now, we all assume Van Dijk would start the first game, fitness depending. Who would you put money on being his centre-back partner? Do you reckon Kwanzaa or do you reckon Konate?
Konate. It's just when he's fit and has match fitness, there's no one better defensively than him. Maybe Van Dijk, of course, but he's strong, he's fast, he knows how to get himself in front of the ball, do a good tackle. But again, it's keeping the composure when he's under pressure. Maybe learn to send the long ball like Verge does. And he wasn't a player like Matip who could run through a whole team and either put it in goal or sky it. But I think he will start if he gets to play against United. And so yeah, I think he starts.
Yeah, I agree. He didn't play 1 minute. I think Jay mentioned in the chat he didn't play at all in the Euros, and I think that'll help him fitness-wise. It's give him a rest. I know he's travelled and whatnot, but 0 minutes in the Euros, I think, it's better for Liverpool. Yes, okay, a bit disappointing for Konate, but better for Liverpool, and that's the primary thing, and that's what I like to see. So before we move on to a bit of an Arsenal preview, which is obviously tomorrow night, I'd just like to say, anyone got any questions, put them in the chat, and I'll come to them at the end of the stream. Don't hesitate to ask the panel anything you want. So Arsenal, depending where you are, as in terms of UK time, it is tomorrow evening at 12:30, another late one. I unfortunately won't be able to watch this one because I'll be in work at 4 a.m. So it's a significant step up. It won't be the full Arsenal squad. So no Bukayo Saka, no, as far as I know, no Saliba. But you're still going to have Ødegaard, still going to have the likes of Gabriel, Jesus, Martinelli, etc. So it's going to be a significant step up, especially the fact we're still missing 12, as far as I know, 12 first-team players. So definitely a test. Misha, I know it's pre-season. Results don't matter, but as fans, we want the team to win. We want to see the team perform well, especially under a new manager. The Real Betis game, personally, yes, we weren't amazing, but considering we didn't have a striker, we played some nice football. I mean, ultimately, we won the game. Diogo Jota is back, and I imagine he'll start, or at least have a lot of minutes in that game. It'd be intriguing to see how we play with a striker, because we didn't have one against Betis. What are your feelings going up against a lot better side in Arsenal? Do you reckon we'll just step up and go for it? Or do you reckon this is where we'll probably struggle because we've got a lot of kids?
So I think this is a game where the performance is more important than the result. The result, even if we lose, as long as they don't really play shit, it's going to be fine. I'm really excited to see how they're going to line up with Diogo. I think Diogo starts. I don't think he's going to give him 40. I don't think he's going to give him 65 minutes, but 45 for sure. Hopefully he's fit to be able to play 45. It's going to be interesting to see really how they line up. Of course, the first pregame season against Real, I don't know who we played. Anyway, it was just with 2 10s. It was a little bit iffy, not too sharp, but that's expected. I think now they should be, like, they had another week of training or so. They should be a little bit more precise with the pass and just understand the game a little bit more. And again, excited to see how we play with a striker. It's just the performance overall is going to be more important than the result.
Yeah, I agree. Makes it sound boring when you do that. No, we want to win, but you are 100% right, mate. You are 100% right. Tom, bit of a team selection dilemma for you. I'm going to see if you can try and predict the back line and the goalkeeper for me for the opening, well, at least for the start of the game. That's virtually impossible, but you never know.
Yeah. Assume it'd be Callow in goal. Then I assume maybe Bradley, Kwanzaa. Is Konate back? Is he available?
Today back, but he won't be.
No. Maybe Kwanzaa, Vandenberg, Simicast, maybe. Yeah, like you said, it's an impossible. Never know pre-season, do you? But I'll go something like that. The goalie in back four.
Yeah, you probably are right. It probably was the easiest part to predict, to be honest. We haven't really got many options, have we? At centre back, especially. I think there's only Phillips. Maybe is it Nallo? I think who's travelled as well. I don't think there's any other option. Jonathan, would you stick with Endo in that 2, or in that if we play? Well, we play kind of a 2, kind of a 3. It's a strange one in that first game. Would you start Endo against Arsenal, or would you reckon you go a bit more risky? Would you play Morton, or would you play a Bajcetic?
I would probably start Endo, and regardless of how he plays, take him off after 45 minutes to give Morton or Bajcetic a whole up. Everyone can have bad days, and it's preseason. Can't expect top top level football. Start and all the first 45, regardless, within Morton or Bajadic in the second half.
Yeah, I personally would like to see Morton get a chance. I think he played quite well in that second half against Betis. I'd like to see him in that holding role just to see if he can do what Slot wants in terms of receive the ball under pressure, be able to turn on it, and then get it forward. I like Endo. In a duel, I back Endo to take on nearly enough anybody. It's just about 4 or 5 times. Like I say, it's pre-season, you are right. Everyone makes mistakes. It's all about sharpness. It's all about fitness. But under a new system, new mind, you just want to see the right pieces of the puzzle. You don't want square pegs and round holes and all that. So I'd like to see Morton get a chance, especially in a more experienced midfield with like a Szoboszlai, or I don't think Jones is a chance to feature. I don't think he'd start. I think they'd be careful with him. But apparently he might train later on. But I can't wait to see McAllister back, see where he fits in that midfield. But Michel, I'll just finish this part off with you. Who would you? So let's say Jota starts up front. I assume Salah's going to start on the right. Would you stick with Carvalho on that left, or would you go maybe a Ben Doak or a Gordon?
I think it was interesting to see Ben Doak playing on the left in training, and also I think the first game against Preston he was on the left for a little bit. I'm not sure about the second game. But yeah, I really am kind of fed up with Carvalho, where he's like making weird comments about like how he's not agreeing on the position. Like, bro, you're a player, just play where you're asked, shut your mouth, stick your head down, and that's it, and do that. But if he's gonna show too much attitude, I don't know. Arne knows best. Probably he's gonna give him the benefit of the doubt and just maybe give him a few more chances. But yeah, I'm a big fan of Doak. It's a shame that he got injured. I was really liking him playing as a sub to Salah on the right, like 2 seasons ago before he got injured. He was really exciting to watch. And yeah, I really want to watch him more. So I prefer to see, my personal opinion, prefer to see Doak even on the left.
Yeah, I agree. Ben Doak, he's lightning. He's not afraid to take anybody on. He's got no fear, and I think playing that left side will suit him so much better. Especially how Klopp always used to play with having a right footer on the left, a left footer on the right. It's quite strange that he always played on the right hand side. Whether that was to make him feel more comfortable, we're not sure. But the fact that Slot straight away in training put him at left wing. I know he didn't play that in Real Betis game, but I'd like to see him on that left wing against Arsenal. Just unleash him. Let him have a go at Ben White. Why not? Just give him that test. I agree with Carvalho. Him and Elliott are polar opposites in my eyes. Poor attitude from Carvalho. I admire him as a footballer. I think he's talented. He's got a bright future. But when you see Elliott wasn't playing in midfield, he wanted to play as a 10, or he wanted to play just off the striker. He got shoved at right wing, never batted an eyelid, played in midfield, and he's now being branded as one of the main players for Liverpool. Whereas Carvalho came in, never played, got a couple of periods he did get a goal against Newcastle, but then got thrown out to Leipzig. It didn't work at Leipzig for a reason. We don't know why. Went to Hull, did quite well, but he's come back and he's already moaning about playing at the left wing. It's like, you've got to do what you've got to do to get into that side, regardless if it's the main team or currently the B team. If you're not showing the willingness, the attitude to get in the squad, you should be out. Whether it's on loan or sold, I don't want to see that. If you have to play in goal just to be a part of this team, is a privilege, especially to a young player like that. So he needs to book his ideas up. Hopefully, it works out for him playing on the left, and we'll see what happens. But Tom, just a quick one. What are your thoughts on Carvalho? Do you agree with me and Micho, or do you reckon we're just full of it and we should just give him more of a chance?
No, I agree with you, to be honest. There's definitely a player there. His technical ability is very impressive. He's very, like I said, very good on the ball, got good dribbling ability. He's obviously got goals and assists to his game. He has shown that he can do that. But yeah, just some comments, and the whole attitude thing is a bit concerning. For a club like us, you'd you'd expect to see a bit better, to be honest, especially for a young player trying to prove himself. But yeah, I think I would give him this season just to kind of see what he can do. You know, obviously, if we're playing more of like a number 10 kind of role in this system as well, he can try and, you know, improve himself there. Under Klopp, obviously, we didn't really play over number 10, so it was hard for him to kind of truly express himself in that to an extent. So yeah, I would like to see him give him this season, see what he can do, and then at the end of the season, if it still hasn't kind of worked out, then maybe that's the time to, you know, move him on. But yeah, there's definitely a player there. You can see that.
Clearly have more patience than me, Tom, but fair enough. That's fair. Valid points there. Jonathan, so as I mentioned before about Elliott being like a bit like the polar opposite, the careers have gone kind of the opposite way. Cobb Elliott struggling to get into the squad, maybe casted out somewhere else, whereas Elliott is like seems the main guy, one of the main guys for the squad. What? I don't know how to put this. Well, I suppose I'll just ask this: what would you do? Would you loan him out, or would you sell, or would you stick with him for another season? What would your thoughts be?
The first season he had for us, I think, where until the World Cup started, he was a good rotation player, Fabio. No one was particularly good that season, to be completely honest. And when we loaned him to Leipzig, they went and brought in Xavi Simons as well. So competition there. He looked good in Hull, so I would maybe give him one more season if it's not a suitable offer to send him out on loan on the table. Keep him one more season and see what he can do. And if his attitude don't change, we're not a club that keep players with an attitude and a negative approach to the system. We have been showing that for the last 9 years that if you're not 100% in, you're not playing for the club. Simple as that. But
Yep.
I would like to see him succeed or at least have a season to prove himself. If not, if we can sell him, we will get good money for him.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely make a profit because we're going for like 8-9 million, and at the end of the day, you went to the championship and a good half a season straight away. You're worth 15 to 20 million. Any young player decent in the championship now these days. So good business regardless. I just hope he gets his head down and just does what he needs to do because it'd be better for everyone all around. So yeah, we'll move on to the next main part, and it's probably the one part of the stream that could be interesting. So we've mentioned the word defensive midfielder, the number 6, a lot this summer, and it's got heavier since Arne Slot has detailed what type of player he wants to play in midfield ever since Endo had a bit of a poor time against Real Betis. So how I'm going to do this is I'm going to ask everybody 3 players, if you can name them, ideal centre mids or number 6s that you reckon the club would realistically go for. So it's got to be someone who's between 19 and probably at 26, I say. So someone who's also available. So I don't want to hear Rodri's or Rice's. And someone who's realistically priced as well for the club. I know it's not a nice way of thinking, but that's just how the club is run. So, Micho, is there anyone who springs to mind that you would take that would suit Slot's system in that 6 centre mid role?
Really cannot say for the 6 because it's difficult to know what exactly they're looking for. So even before Slot, they were looking for a 6. Even before Slot, they were looking at Andre from Brazil. That went away. Then we were looking at Ederson from Atalanta. That went away. We don't know exactly what kind of profile of a 6 it is. I mean, I think we all agree. We all want Fabinho or a Fabinho regen. And I don't think we have that. He was really complete, a really good anchor player, ball-winning player, really smart, really good in positioning, just overall game, really understood the game well. I think he's a benefit to any club. So far, I don't think there's a player in the market that closely resembles him. I really cannot say. Today in the chat, I asked about Atli, I think his name is, from Milan, because he's
Yeah,
young and he kind of fits a similar profile that I think would benefit Liverpool, but I don't know exactly if they're even looking at him. It's hard because there's no rumors. There's no rumors even for attempts or for interest. So they're like keeping it really tight. Like nobody gets any info on what they're looking at. I'm sure that they have a list and nobody knows, not even James Spears, as much as he tries to speculate. No one even that is closest to Liverpool knows what's going on behind the scenes, which is good. But also, yeah, it's not easy on the nerves. So I really cannot say for a 6. I hope it's not someone disappointed at the end of the day that they buy, and it's not someone that is like a doorstop. I think the word is like where they buy someone that is good enough to help this season, maybe next season, and then you have to buy another midfielder. I hope they buy someone for the long term, and I really hope they find the right person. For the amount, I don't really care how much they spend. I'm guessing they, with Edwards in charge and Hughes, they don't want to spend that much. But I'm guessing about 50-60 million euros or pounds, it would be good business.
It's like the sweet spot, isn't it? If you can find someone who's got a lot of potential, but also an established player in that position for about 50 million, the club likes to aim round about that mark. It's also room for basically profits, down the line, is it someone you could get more money back for. So, Tom, at the start of the summer, we saw we needed a right winger, we needed a centre back, and a DM. That was like the going thing amongst the fans. And since then, in regards to the DM position, we've gone from, we need a destroyer, we need a Fabinho regen, as Misho said. We've now gone to we need somebody who can play on the ball, just control the ball, and just be easy under pressure. We haven't gone to it we've gone from a destroyer to like a Busquets type thing. We need someone like that. Is there anybody in your mind? Is there anybody who probably suits that? So, like I said, we've gone from a Palhinha to, is there somebody else on the other end of the spectrum who makes you think, yeah, he would suit it?
I think that's just the problem, isn't it? Doesn't seem to be many kind of out there that kind of jump out at you. I suppose the obvious options in the Prem would be that maybe Adam Wharton from Palace. I think he seems to kind of tick a lot of boxes. He seems to be quite good on the ball and kind of quite good in terms of in the tackle. And if you're looking to spend a bit more, maybe that Bruno Guimaraes from Newcastle. You're probably talking 80 million, but he's more. Again, he's good on the ball and kind of aggressive in the tackle. He's kind of got a bit of both. And there is talk that Newcastle need to sell someone. So if that could be an option. I mean, if you're looking a bit outside the box, maybe, as Paul said, that Alan Varela from Porto, he's been talked about very highly. And I think, again, he kind of has a mix of both of that tenacity and the, ball playing ability. So, probably one of them three, possibly. But as I said, there's not too many that are available that kind of jump out at you, really, is there? I think that's the issue.
Yeah, this is the problem with this summer. There's not a lot of money going around. The clubs in general, availability is a really tough one, especially for the DMs. The ones that are available cost a lot of money. But like I say, there isn't many DMs that of our profile that we want. It's a tough market, but I think we do need somebody in that position. And going on what Slot was saying, he would like somebody there. But we'll have to wait and see. With some suggestions in chat, Paul's picked out Varela and, my personal favourite, Zubamendi. So, he's not 6'4". He's not like a Rodri in that respect. But when he played against England in the final, he made them better when he came on. I know England exactly weren't great in that, but still, he seems one of the most promising. And for that 50-60 million pound mark, as Misho said before, it seems to be the sweet spot, and he would be that. And I think he's 24. Quote me if I'm wrong on that. I think he would be perfect, but he's got his clause. I think if we wanted him, would we have just gone out and got him? it's one of them. Jonathan, is there anybody who screams to mind for you? Not necessarily a 6, but like a midfielder to suit that role.
Yeah, Zubimendi, as mentioned, if Jörg Schmöchte would have been our sporting director, he would have our release clause merchant. But yeah, Zubimendi, Wharton, I think he was really good for Palace last year. I don't see why not. He's young, he's showing good promise. He can play. He can play different roles. And I hope we would maybe bring in Andre last summer, the lad from Brazil. But it seems that he have died down and now he's heading to, was it Fulham or West Ham? Yeah, João Neves, we were linked with him as well, and now he's heading to Paris. But if Jörg would have been the sporting director, I think he would just put the money on the table, like we did with Zubu last year.
Yeah, that's true. Robert's mentioned in chat that Zubimendi and Water aren't available. Everyone's available at the right price, but apparently Palace have said I think it was a couple of months ago, I remember seeing the tweet saying if they had a big enough offer, they would consider selling Water because that's the type of club that Palace are. They will reinvest in the squad. It's frustrating that I think it's not one team 6 months ago. Was it in January they signed him? I think it was. He was playing for Blackburn just before that. Yeah. And you just wanted the club to take a chance on them type of players. And he's ended up being as a 50, 60 million pound player in 6 months. Yes, he's unproven, but people are actually willing to think about spending that money on someone who's only got 6 month Premier League experience, which is crazy. But if the nerds behind the laptops at Liverpool think he's good enough and they actually go for him, then I'll be behind it all the way. And he mentions that Zubimendi isn't available, or he's got a release clause. So if he wants to come, he'll just come because you pay the money. End of story. Paul, you mentioned that Wharton's not a 6. Correct. But we don't actually want a 6. It's a strange one. You want a 6, but you don't want a 6 because I don't know about you guys, but I fancy a defensive midfielder is like a Palhinha, someone who will just break up play. A bit more Fabinho, basically. I don't think we want that. I think we need elements of that. Someone who can tackle. But I think majority of midfielders these days can tackle to a point. It's just someone slightly better than others. I don't think Declan Rice is actually a very good tackler with the ball. I think he's better going forward, but he can play the 6th position. I think we need someone like that who can play the 6, but is also not just a 6, someone who can play as an 8. That's what gave me hope before that Bajcetic was going to be there, but something doesn't sit quite right with me. A lot played football properly for a year, just over a year. Giving him the starting role could be a bit risky, but I'm not the coach, but that's just my feelings on it. But before we get into our last topic there, guys, once again, like, subscribe to the channel, follow us on Twitter, follow us on YouTube, all that good stuff. And once again, if you've got any questions, I've saved them in the chat at the end of the stream. So if you have any, just put them in the comments, I'll save them. So our last topic, it's not the most exciting of topics in terms of, it's not transfer news, but I think it's quite intriguing. A lot of players have been interviewed since Arne Slot has come in. They all said the same type of thing. They're all very excited of the style of play that Arne Slot is implementing at Liverpool. I can't remember when Jurgen first came in, but Jurgen is about work ethic and emotion. That was what he did. But it encourages me personally that I'm hearing that all the players are excited about this new challenge and the style that we're playing. Well, obviously, we've seen it in that first game, and it was quite good to watch when it was working right. I know we didn't make the most goal-scoring opportunities we could have done, but we didn't have a striker, as I've said before. But, Micho, does it encourage you that, say, new manager replacing our best Premier League manager ever, that the players have all turned up and said, you know what? This is exciting times. We're loving what we're doing already. As a fan, how does that make you feel?
So there's a few points to this. Number one, it's obvious that they're gonna speak kindly of him and fondly of him, because imagine if they go and make interviews and say, "Oh no, he's shit." Imagine if some players do that. Then second of all is there's always this honeymoon period, new start, new beginning, something exciting. Of course, he's giving them something completely different. I mean, in terms of training, at least in terms of preseason, probably they're used to. I don't think Klopp changed much when it comes to preseason in the last year, so they're used to doing things one way. Of course, they always evolved. Technology always evolves. Just football always evolves. I'm sure that he's changed a couple of things, but most of the things probably was kept the same, and they knew what to expect in preseason. Now it's a lot of young players. Most likely, that's why they're excited, because for a lot of them, that's the first proper preseason that they have with a first team. For players like Harvey, Jones, Soboslai, of course, they've had a few preseasons already. But again, a new manager is always going to be exciting, and it's normal that they're excited. It's good, of course. It's encouraging that they feel this way. But I don't think it's surprising in the same matter, because we already knew that Slot has some quality. That's why he was picked as a successor to Klopp. So I don't think it should be that surprising that the players are excited.
Well, sorry about that. I had your audio. I just couldn't count. Honestly, today this Wi-Fi destroying me, man. Tom, Misha's right. What you're saying. Your new boss is in. You're not going to turn around and say, no, we hate working under him. But the consistent factor for me was they're all excited to play this system more than anything else. They all admire him as a manager, because that's the type of thing you're going to hear. Of course you will, because like I say, he's the boss. But the system, they're excited to play a different style of football. That's the key thing for me. They're all invested into it. So the question is, do you reckon this group of players that we've got, this is obviously Jurgen's team, of course it is. We've had no transfers, as we're all well aware. But part of me thinks a good chunk of these players especially suits Arne Slot's system more than Jurgen's, especially since last summer anyway.
Yeah, definitely. I think especially if you look at the midfield options, you look at Szoboszlai, McAllister, Elliott, Jones, they're all very kind of technical sort of players, which let's believe that Slot plays a more, technical kind of possession-based style of football. And if that is the case, then, them players are going to thrive more under him than they did under Klopp. I think that was a bit of a problem for the likes of Elliott and Jones under Jurgen. They're obviously kind of number 10s, and we didn't play with one, so it was hard for them to kind of express themselves, to the maximum. Elliott was playing off the right at times, playing at the 8 at times. It's kind of square pegs and round holes a little bit for him. So I think now, if he's going to be able to play in his, preferred position, it's going to help him, obviously. And the same as Szoboszlai, like I said, same as Szoboszlai and Jones as well. That system and the position that they're going to be able to play in that system, should help them to thrive, really. So, yeah, definitely in the midfield area, especially. I think, a lot of the players in there will be more suited to Slot, and hopefully, we'll see the development of them, as a result of that.
I agree. I think it is all, like say, the midfield from we basically brought in last summer. We saw a shift from energy and hard work, you know what I mean, work ethic and industrious, that's what the word I was looking for, the industry, to more technical ability, like I say with Szoboszlai and McAllister especially, and Gravenberch, of course. Jonathan, do you agree with that notion that when we change from a more technical approach, do you reckon that midfield especially is more suited to Arne Slot's style? Is there anyone in particular in that midfield that you think will thrive in Slot's system?
I think we have more players now that will fit the Arne Slot system that we had when we won the league and Champions League. That was a Klopp midfield. ran through walls for him. I think Szoboszlai could benefit having more a technical role, not always be running like a box to box. McAllister, maybe not always having to go back and support Endo, could be more up on the pitch. And Gravenberch, of course, if he stays fit through the whole season, I think he could thrive. Because we saw hints of it during Klopp, but he wasn't that running 90 minutes kind of player. And I think it could be exciting if he decides to move Trent up to the midfield. What he will do with that situation. Because people will point to during the Euros he didn't fit in the midfield, but he played besides Declan Rice and Jude Bellingham that didn't track back. So
Yeah, fair
it'll
enough.
be exciting.
In regards to Trent, I think he is best as a right back, but I think if you were to put him in midfield, I wouldn't mind seeing him in like what Szoboszlai was doing in the first game. Someone who's going to bomb forward and get in the box and link up with Salah and link up with the striker, whoever's playing. I don't like him as a 6 or a defensive-minded player. He likes to have the pitch in front of him, but he also likes to burst through the lines. That's what he's best at. I think when he's static in midfield, you're taking away a good 50% of what his ability is about, and it just doesn't sit right with me personally. But I think he's better as a right back. Of course, there's always going to be questions about his defensive whereabouts and his awareness. But Trent's a generational talent. You want him in the side regardless. I personally think Szoboszlai I think he was the best player personally in that first game against Real Betis. I don't know about you guys, but I think he could thrive in this system just because he can get forward better. He didn't have as much defensive responsibility by the looks of it. But just hopefully he stays fit, because as soon as he got those knocks in the first season, he's just seemed to affect him quite badly. And apparently he was still injured for Hungary as well when he was there. Seems to be okay now, because I imagine we won't play him, but we'll see how he gets on. We'll just get on to the couple of questions that have been given. So we already covered one. We're saying, so which players do you think we'll go into it a bit more, to be fair. Which players overall will thrive in the system as it stands, obviously, depending on transfers and whatnot? Misho, is there anybody who you think will 100% thrive or be perfect, and who will not? Who do you think will not thrive at all?
One player that I think is gonna thrive would be Szoboszlai. So if it ends up that he's playing a similar role regarding of the formation that they played against Real Betis, if he's going to break through playing 1-2 with a wide midfielder and going break out forward, he's gonna score more goals, and he's gonna play more forward. Maybe not even 1-2, but play a couple of 1-2s with a wider player, with a central forward. So that's gonna benefit him, more assists, more goals. I don't think he's gonna be given that much to play on the back, to go back and collect balls. Of course, every midfielder has to do that, but yeah, I think he's gonna be running mostly forward rather than just playing passes forward. Yeah, I think that role is gonna suit him. I see him more as an attacking midfielder than just a midfielder. Someone who's not gonna thrive, I really cannot say. I hope they all thrive. We can see that Endo is gonna struggle probably because he's already like 30 something. They say you cannot teach an old new tricks. So most of the players that are like probably over 29, I don't think we can expect anything special from them. Just whatever they can do best. We know what Salah can do. He can do over 20 goals and assists in a season. That's easy money. But with Endo, I really cannot say what we can expect from him in the new system.
That's fair. Like I said, we can only go off what the minimal amount of football we've seen. Our opinions will change as the weeks go by and even into the new season. But it's just like I say, we'll see how they get on. Tom, same question to you. Someone you think will excel, someone you think will get left behind because they don't suit it.
Yeah, I'd like to see. I think Elliot will, really kick on this season. As I said before, just because of a more technical style, and also being able to play his preferred position, I think he could really kick on this year. He showed massive signs last year, but I think with the new system in place, he could really kick on this season. So I think it could be a good one for him. In terms of who could struggle, yeah, and Endo, I do really like Endo, but Endo maybe, and possibly Darwin as well. If you're playing it's a style more based on fluid football and being good on the ball, being in control of the ball, technically good. That's obviously not Darwin, is it? So he could be one that could struggle a little bit, and I do think it is kind of a make or break season for him this year. So yeah, I think he could struggle, and if he does, then I wouldn't be surprised to see him sold this time next year.
Yeah, certainly big seasons for especially some of our attackers, which I'll get on in a minute. Jonathan, is there anybody that stands out to you think will thrive? And is there anybody that stands out that you think, yeah, I can't see him sticking around much longer?
I hope Gravenberch will thrive. But I think Elliot and Szoboszlai is the obvious answer, just in what they showed in the attacking roles last year. And also is the obvious answer for who might struggle. And it's early to say. We have seen 45 minutes, 50 minutes of him. And I think maybe one of the left backs, Robo or Tsimikas, could struggle. And that's just what it seemed like. Tsimikas was going down as third centre back when we attacked. I think one of them could be left behind. It depends on how they adapt to the new role and new system. So I'm excited to see that.
That's fair. Yeah,
Well, he wants a left-footed centre back as well.
Yeah, that's fair. My personal picks, I agree with Misha and John, and I think Tommy mentioned Szoboszlai is the obvious answer. It seems to suit him down to the ground, playing that type of role. In terms of someone who might struggle, I've got a couple of outside picks. I think Diaz might struggle a little bit because I think we require intricate technical ability. Okay, on the ball, dribbling ability. I think Diaz is class. I think Cody Gakpo just offers a bit more on that left-hand side. He seems to link up better with the players. I think he plays really well with Robbo on that left-hand side. I think Diaz gets in the way a lot when Robertson plays because he likes to stay wide. Simple as that. The other one, it will be a bit of a left field one, this. I think Joe Gomez might have a little struggle. Just because as a fullback, let's class him as a fullback for a second. He doesn't get forwards like Bradley does. As a centre back, well, you'd have to get in as a centre back for me. I can't see him as a Bradley or a Trent. I think they're better going forward technically, and Slot system requires a fullback to push so high up. You know what I mean? I like Joe Gomez, not going to lie. I just think this could be the year where he might struggle. Anyway, like I say, I'm happy to be proven wrong, more than happy. We'll get one more question in before we move on. Well, before the end of the stream, sorry. Paul's mentioned, how are we feeling about post-Klopp? Do we reckon we'll move forward, take a step forward with Slot, or will we take a step back? Misha, quick one with you. Do you reckon you can say if it's going to take a bit of time? Do you reckon eventually we'll move forward with Slot as in we'll get better, or do you reckon it could end with the sadness and it's like we need somebody else? Deep down, what are you thinking?
I don't think he has a choice, really. It's a really difficult season for him. I believe in him. I don't think really we're going to finish lower than third. I just hope he gets to win a cup this season, whatever kind of cup it is, even if it's ambitious to think about the Premier League. It's possible. Champions League is possible. It's over there with the players that we have. I don't see it like excluding any big injuries that ruin the plans and the season. I think we can compete for 4 titles. I don't really care about the Carabao Cup, so I hope even if it's whatever kind of cup, the FA Cup would be better than the Carabao Cup. So I hope at least one title he gets to win in his first season, and then top 4 finish. I don't think it's a step back, or I think that will be a solid first season for him if he gets to achieve that. Sure, I'm not the only one if I say if we finish outside of the top 4, everyone will be disappointed and we're going to be expecting more in his second season, but I don't really see it unless something really bad happens when it comes to injuries. I don't think Slot can fuck up things so bad that with the players that you have, you get to finish outside the top 4.
Fair. That's fair. I'm personally definitely feeling better now about it than I did probably in May. And the ways can put himself across, and already we've seen an impact on the pitch as well in the style of change of style. Sorry. So I've got good feelings about it. I just hope he gets backed and gets in what he needs for the squad. Tom, I'll got 2 more questions thrown out there by comments. Jay, I'll get to your question now. So do we see, if let's say we get Anthony Gordon, we have been linked with him again today. Do you reckon he would be someone who would basically be Mo's replacement down the line? Or do you reckon if he was someone for left side, so down the line, would we move Diaz on and then we put Gordon there? Or do you reckon it'd be right-hand side?
I think it'd have to be on the left-hand side. That's where he's really kind of shown his potential, last season, cutting in from that left. Obviously, you can go both ways, which is why he can play on the right as well. But yeah, I think where he can cut in and shoot, he's shown that countless times last season where he cut in and, scored a far corner. His dribbling ability as well. I think he's definitely a lot more suited to that left-hand side, and he can cause a lot more damage on that left-hand side in terms of his output. I only see it happening if Diaz was to go. We still do have players that can play there. But yeah, I think it would be a kind of replacement for Diaz. And yeah, it's a sign that it's another priority signing, but it's a sign I'd love to see. I think he really is about to really, really kick on, Gordon. I think he's got so much potential in him, and he's shown that last season, like I said. So yeah, I see him be playing on the left if he does come in, and it's a sign I'd be all for, definitely.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's what he's all about, cutting in on that left-hand side, and it makes him a dangerous threat. And I'd love to sign him let's be honest, just to piss off Newcastle and Everton. It'd be hilarious. But anyway, that's by the by. Jonathan, last question for you. Paul's mentioned Trevor Chalobah, who currently, as it stands, plays for Chelsea. Liverpool and Chelsea are complete polar opposites right now. 1, we've signed nobody. Chelsea have signed about 20 million players. Also, 2, we treat our academy prospects very well. I like to think that way, whether they're in the team or they get moved to develop. He got shipped off. You're not going anywhere on tour. You're staying at home to look for a transfer move, whether you like it or not. With Liverpool needing a centre-back, as it stands, I think we still do. Whether Van der Beek stays or not, we'll see. Is he someone who would, as a homegrown option, he also could play right-back as centre-back as well? Is he someone that you reckon you can get for cheap and you would go for? Or is it someone you just go, nah, he's not good enough for Chelsea. He's not good enough for Liverpool?
Of what I've seen of him in Chelsea, it doesn't look very exciting. It doesn't impress me. But the price tag, is it 20 million they want for him? It could be worth a gamble if they don't find anyone else. Just last time resort, we gamble on him. But I would have put my money somewhere else, or kept Sepp and give him more responsibility for the season ahead, to be honest. And that gives Chelsea money in the bank, and if we can drop giving them more money to use, it's not bad either.
Yeah, that's fair. I like Trevor Chalobah, but I don't think he's good enough. I think he's just average, but he definitely deserves to be treated better by the club. That basically he's gone through the academy and he's played through some tough times as well. So that just sums Chelsea up in a heartbeat. Getting rid of the players that run through a brick wall for him to sign these players that, well, not been in great press at the moment. Enzo Fernandez. But anyway, that ends the live stream for today, guys. Thank you for all joining me on this Tuesday night. Don't forget the American stream is on at 2 a.m. UK time. So join us for that one. But thank you all. Like I say, like and subscribe, all that good stuff. Thanks for the questions and the comments, and I'll see you in the next one. Ta-ta.